Imagine a patient with a pristine diet, a regular exercise routine, and a normal TSH level on their thyroid panel. By every common clinical metric, they appear to be in optimal health, yet their lab results tell a conflicting story. An anomaly appears, an elevated LDL cholesterol level of 135. Simultaneously, an ultrasound reveals thickened biliary sludge. The patient also reports acute gut bloating immediately after eating. Finally, following high stress, they experience a restrictive sensation during urination, a splinter, leading to a spiked PSA level of 6.2. The standard medical response is to compartmentalize these findings. The patient is typically referred to 3 different specialists for a statin, a GI workup, and a prostate screening. These symptoms appear to be disconnected, but their simultaneous onset suggests a shared mechanism operating in several locations at once. This mechanism involves a thyroid hormone called reverse T3, or rT3. The body deploys reverse T3 as a biological emergency brake during periods of extreme physiological stress, systemic inflammation, or caloric starvation to slow the metabolic burn rate. This brake triggers a systemic lockdown of smooth muscle tissue. The biological valves controlling the flow of fluids throughout the internal organs lose their ability to relax and clamp shut. We can evaluate these symptoms as fluid dynamics and mechanical engineering failures rather than isolated pathologies. Restoring the physical plumbing and forcing these mechanical gates back open allows the elevated lipid and prostate numbers to normalize. The liver produces about 75 to 80% of the body's cholesterol endogenously, managing a strict balance of supply and demand. The liver is physically incapable of burning or destroying cholesterol for energy. To get rid of excess cholesterol, the liver must convert it into bile acids and dump them into the digestive tract for excretion. This drainage system is controlled by the Sphincter of Oddi. This tiny circular muscle at the end of the bile duct acts as the mechanical gatekeeper for bile entering the small intestine. Under normal conditions, LDL particles act as delivery trucks, dropping cholesterol at the liver. The liver packages that cholesterol into bile, which flows through the open Sphincter of Oddi. If this specific smooth muscle gate clamps shut, the cholesterol is trapped inside the body's closed system, eliminating its only drainage route. Keeping that gate open requires active thyroid hormone. The liver converts inactive T4 into active T3, which signals smooth muscles to relax. A spike in adrenaline or cortisol, often from acute stress or a concentrated stimulant, disrupts this baseline. This stress surge forces the liver to alter its conversion enzyme. It protects the body by stripping the wrong iodine atom off the T4 molecule. This creates a mirror image molecule, reverse T3. Reverse T3 fits into cellular thyroid receptors, but cannot activate them. It acts as a physical block, preventing the active hormone from delivering its signal. Without the T3 signal, smooth muscles lose the ability to relax. The Sphincter of Oddi clamps shut, and the liver's bile production is now trapped behind a locked gate. This blockage causes biliary stasis. As bile thickens and fails to reach the small intestine, food ferments, manifesting as acute post-meal bloating. Inside the liver, bile acids and fats accumulate behind the locked sphincter. The liver cell monitors this internal lipid pressure using a genetic sensor called SREBP2. SREBP2 senses the congestion. With no capacity for more cargo, it retracts the LDL receptors from the cell membrane, closing the docking bays. With the docking bays closed, LDL particles become stranded in the bloodstream, driving up the patient's cholesterol labs. This profile is distinct from dietary cholesterol issues. A thyroid-driven profile presents with high LDL and high inflammation markers, but perfectly normal triglycerides and a free T3 to reverse T3 ratio below 20. Prescribing a statin in this scenario focuses on lowering production, yet the underlying issue remains a physical logjam at the clearance gate. A similar anatomical dynamic exists in the urinary tract. The internal urethral sphincter is made of the exact same smooth muscle as the Sphincter of Oddi. The systemic rT3 lockdown starves the urethral sphincter of its relaxation signal, causing it to spasm. This spasm creates the restrictive splinter sensation. As the bladder squeezes against this locked gate, it creates intense backward hydrostatic pressure that presses directly against the prostate gland. Mechanical stress squeezes prostate-specific antigen, or PSA, out of the prostate ducts and into the bloodstream, artificially inflating the lab score. The spiked PSA and elevated LDL represent a singular systemic failure expressed through two different diagnostic markers. Recovery begins with a mechanical flush to open the biological valves and drain the backlog. Dicyclamine, an anticholinergic medication, acts as a chemical override to relax the spasming sphincters in both the bile duct and the bladder. During this phase, acidic triggers like apple cider vinegar can be counterproductive. They signal the gallbladder to contract, and squeezing against a spasming gate will cause severe pain. As the dicyclamine opens the gate, it must be paired with a massive dose of insoluble fiber, such as shredded wheat. The fiber acts as an intestinal sponge, trapping the cholesterol-heavy bile so it is permanently excreted rather than reabsorbed. This flush provides immediate relief from bloating and urinary pressure, but permanent recovery requires addressing hardware responsible for thyroid conversion. Phase 2 involves a hardware upgrade to restore the liver's T4 to T3 conversion engine. This requires specific enzymatic cofactors. Iron bisglycinate and selenomethionine provide the raw fuel and protection for the conversion engine. Zinc picolinate clears the cellular receptors so they can register the thyroid signal, while magnesium glycinate acts as a daily relaxant for the smooth muscle sphincters. PSA has a half-life of 2 to 3 days. Once the urethral spasm is relaxed and pressure is relieved, PSA levels typically normalize within 10 to 14 days. Cholesterol clears more slowly. It takes 4 to 6 weeks of unhindered biliary flow for the liver to vacuum enough LDL out of the blood to reflect on a lab test. Testing too early may show a temporary spike in circulating numbers, as stored fats are mobilized out of the liver. A little over reading on a lipid or prostate panel marks the first measurable signal of a fluid dynamics bottleneck. Restoring mechanical flow allows these numbers to normalize.